Howka, boys and girls. Dr. Dave here. Surviving in the desert has never been easy. Today, my team will be helping us learn about desert plants and how they adapt to survive in a land of extremes. And more importantly, how they were used by the Kumeyaay to adapt and survive for over 10,000 years. But first, let's review some vocabulary. Have you heard the word botany before? What does it mean? Basically, botany is the study of plants, which is what we'll be doing here today. Secondly, are you able to tell me what a desert is? What characteristics define a desert? A desert is a dry, barren area of land that gets less than 10 inches of rain each year. Here in Imperial Valley, our deserts typically only receive 2.92 inches each year. It really is a land of extremes. The plants that survive in our desert have adapted to endure low water and high heat. However, not all deserts are hot. Fun fact, did you know that Antarctica is a desert? Well, since it doesn't get more than 10 inches of rain each year, it is considered a desert, even though it is extremely cold. Today, we'll be focusing our attention on the deserts of Imperial Valley, the Yuha and Sonoran deserts. Hey, look who it is! Angelina, our education coordinator. What are you doing out here?
I'm just making some sketches of the plants we have here in the garden for an activity I'm making.
Oh wow, that's amazing. What sort of plants are you focusing on now?
Well, behind me we have the ocotillo. It's one of the biggest plants that we have out here.
As you can see, it is a woody plant that protects itself with spiky thorns, so be careful around them. The Kumeyaay use the ocotillo as fencing. When it blooms, the thorns grow small green leaves and red flowers emerge from the tips of the plant. The flowers are small so that it does not sweat and it can preserve as much water as possible. Preserving its water supply is one of the biggest challenges plants in a desert will face, and the ocotillo are one of the best at it.
Its roots are wide and shallow so that when it rains, the ocotillos can absorb as much water as possible.
We can definitely take a few pointers from the ocotillo. Let's head back before we turn into fertilizer ourselves.
Wait, there's so many more plants out here we can learn from. Let's look at the brittle bush. The brittle bush is part of the sunflower family. Did you know that?
When it blooms, it will get tiny sunflowers all over it. Its leaves have a velvety feeling as well.
This one is actually hibernating. The brittle bush will actually look like it's dying in seasons when it does not get enough water. Once it gets some water, it starts getting green again. The brittle bush is able to store large amounts of water so it can get through long periods of time without rainfall.
The brittle bush is a lot like the creosote plant here. They all have to preserve water in one way or another.
One of the ways the creosote conserves water is from regulating its photosynthesis. The creosote only takes in carbon dioxide in the mornings when the humidity is high and the sunlight is not as harsh so that it doesn't lose as much water. The creosote is one of the more important plants to the Kumeyaay, firstly because it was used as medicine. Secondly, because of an insect that grows on the bush known as the lac scale bug. The bugs secrete a sticky resin that can be used to repair cracked oyas.
I think I know someone who could tell us more about lac repairs. Hey Luis, are you there?
Thanks, David. I thought you never asked.
Luis here, one of the education specialists at IVDM. I have been thinking about these oyas. We've been talking about how the plants around the desert store water, but the Kumeyaay have been doing the same thing. Not through hibernation, of course, but through their pottery. The Kumeyaay would use oyas, like the ones shown here, to hold water. Oyas occasionally break during their creation or use, but all is not lost. In the desert, time and energy are life. Using the secretions of the lac bug, the Kumeyaay could glue a broken piece of pottery back together. You can see where the pieces were joined with the secretions of the lac scale bug.
The Kumeyaay had a deep understanding of the plants and animals of the desert around them, and they used this to their advantage. When a pot would break, rather than building a new one and going through the months-long intensive process to do so, they would repair and make use of the pottery they already had.
Spot on, David. This was one of the Kumeyaay's unique adaptations to such a harsh environment. Doing so kept the broken pot of water together for longer because you need to have water to survive in the desert. By the way, David, you look a little parched.
Thanks, Luis.
So while I have your attention, why don't I show you one of my pointier friends around the museum? Another very important plant in our desert is the agave. The agave was used as a food source by the Kumeyaay, but it was also used as fibers. The Kumeyaay would harvest the agave and cook it in hearths, underground ovens, so that the fibers could be easily removed from the plant and the fleshy insides would be soft and sweet. The fibers can be used to make rope, clothing, and shoes. Agave has such thick leaves so that it can protect itself from water loss and from the high temperatures of the desert.
Hey guys, check this one out. The teddy bear Toya is a small cactus with so many spines it looks soft and fuzzy. A cousin to the teddy bear Toya is the jumping Toya. It gets the jumping in its name from the fact that the cactus easily catches onto your clothes or animals that come near it. This is how the cactus reproduces, since a small piece of the cactus can grow a whole new one. Many desert plants can propagate by having a small piece of them fall off, relocating, and growing a whole new plant. This little piece can be anywhere from a small stem section to a leaf.
Ow!
Hey Kristin, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Speedy was just telling me how much he likes to eat the flowers from this plant, and I got a little too close and I poked myself. But I'm okay. See? No blood.
I'm glad you're okay. Well, the plant that Kristin just ran into is the barrel cactus. The barrel cactus has a water-like liquid inside that is actually highly acidic. The liquid inside will dehydrate you even more than not drinking water, but the flowers are actually edible and a delicacy to many desert animals, tortoises included. The Kumeyaay would make use of its larger needles in the form of fish hooks and sewing needles. Bighorn sheep, however, will crack these cacti open with their horns and eat the insides so they don't get pricked by the spines. Cool, huh?
Definitely.
Most of the desert plants have adapted to take every possible advantage they can to survive. Adapting to scarce amounts of rain and hot climates, the plants we see around us today have survived for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And just like the plants, the Kumeyaay make use of everything they find in their desert home.
We have learned many things about desert plants and the Kumeyaay's use for them. Thank you for spending time learning with us, and we hope you come visit us soon. Bye-bye.